what I want to do now is create a star field effect. So here I created a new document with 800 by 600. The size doesn't really matter, and the background color doesn't really matter because we're gonna fill this up with at the beginning with a gradient, because the sky is a gradient of colors. What is a gradient? It's a transition of colors from one to another to another. So for example, if I wanted to create a gradient the manual way, which is not the recommended way, but just to show it to you, let's have a white color here, and then let's say a red color. So here we have a transition from white to red. Now this is manual, it's not very good because you can't really control it easily. So what I will do is actually use the gradient tool, which will create the transition automatically. Where do I find the gradient tool? It's found here. Sometimes you have the paint bucket. If you keep pressing, you find the gradient tool there. Now when I do click on the gradient tool, I get the options up here. I click to change the colors of my gradient. I'll talk about all these things in detail later. For now, I'll select one, the first one, which is the transition from the foreground to the background, whichever colors are your foreground and background. The sky, the night sky, what are the colors of it? Actually, it's dark blue and darker blue, right? It's not black, totally black. It's dark blue. A nice sky is dark blue and darker blue. So what we're gonna do actually is use a dark blue color. So here I am in S. Here we have HSB and RGB. HSB stands for hue, saturation, and brightness. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. What I chose here is S for saturation, because let's say that I selected the color like this for blue. If I look over, I would see that it's a very fainted blue. It's not a strong blue. To make it strong, I have to increase the saturation, because the saturation is the intensity of the color. So if I click on S and raise this up now, I would get a strong blue. I can always darken it up like this. So I have my first blue. Let's have the second one. So again, I'll click, increase the saturation, and maybe I'll make this a bit darker. So I went down further. So I have these two colors now, lighter blue and darker blue. Where should the light blue be? At the bottom or at the top, in case I add a sky? Okay, let's try and see which one works best for us. I'm creating a sky, a night sky. So there's my linear gradient. I'll click, press shift and drag down and release. If I don't press shift, I might have a slanted line, which is not a vertical line. So actually, let's make this a bit darker even, just to have more contrast. Something like this. If I press shift and go down, there's the light color, there's the dark color. Yeah, if I go in the opposite direction, that would give me a better sky. But this is maybe too bright, so I have to make it a bit darker. Alright, so I have now my sky background. I need to add the stars. How would I add the stars? I'm gonna create a new layer, set my foreground color to pure white. Why? Because the stars are white, of course. And I fill this layer with a color. So it's white all the way. I'm gonna go to filter, noise, and add noise. What this will do is add random noise patterns to my layer. So it's not really something defined, it's a random noise. What I chose as values is 125 for the amount, uniform, and Gaussian, and monochromatic. If I uncheck monochromatic, it will be colored noise. In this case, it's not useful for me because I don't need the colors. I just need black and white, so I use monochromatic. Gaussian will give you another distribution compared to uniform. It's more random. It doesn't really matter. I'll choose uniform for now and I'll press OK. Now what I need to do is favor one of the colors over the other ones. I need white stars. Therefore, I should increase the whiteness in this layer or the darkness in this layer. I should increase the darkness so that I have fewer stars because I have a lot here. How would I do this? I would go to Image, Adjustment, and Threshold. The threshold will let you favor one color over the other. So if you go to the left, you would favor the white. If you go to the right, you would favor the black. You had this by default, so I'm going to go to the right to favor the black. Let's zoom over to 100%. You can do this many times in case you want to favor more. You can apply the threshold again, but I think it's enough for me now. I'll see and then I'll go back if I need to have more. Now I need to blend the pixels together so that whenever I have a strong concentration of white, I will have a star, and when I have less concentration of white, it will disappear, it will be black. That way I will get my star field. So I'm going to go to Filter, Noise, and this time choose Median. Okay, I start to separate the colors, but this is too much. So what I'm going to do is have more threshold. Okay, because I applied the threshold, I have nothing so far. So what I will do actually is undo and apply less noise. So filter, noise, add noise. Instead of 125, I will have less. So something like this, because what I had before was too much. Let's say 30%, around 30. Again, reapply the threshold like this. Press Ctrl M to have some contrast. Filter, noise, median. Okay, they're still too big. What I will do in this case is start off with a bigger document. Okay, something like this. And then I would apply the median, noise and median. And then I would get the stars that I'm after. Okay, now what was the problem before? It's not actually the size. Who can guess? Yeah, it was actually the color of the layer. So I will create a new layer. Instead of filling it with white, I will fill it with black, because that would make the whole thing easier. And then I would add the noise. Yeah, and then work on the threshold just like I did before. Favor the black. It depends on how many stars you want. If you go all the way to the right, you will lose all the stars. So something like this is good. And then we can stop here, but it's bad to stop here because all of them have the same size. That's why we're doing the median. So we go to Filter, Noise, and Median. Okay, I favored the black too much, so I'm gonna go back to Threshold and go like this. I need more black, so I'll leave it the way it is now and try it. I need less black. You always have to go back and forth. You can never guess the right amount directly. I'm undoing, of course, to go backwards. This is okay, but I have a lot of chunky stars. So I will go a bit further with the threshold. Something like this. 'For the stars. Alright, so now I have my stars. Let's say that they're good. I need now to show these on the sky. How can I show them on the sky? Because you know the sky had the gradient. One thing I can do is delete the black color, but that would be too troublesome. If I wanted to delete the black color, I would go to select color range. I click on the black. I increase the fuzziness so that all the black would be selected, and I would delete. And it would work, but that's too much trouble. What I would do in this case is this. Change the blending mode so that only the bright colors from this layer will stay and the dark colors will disappear. So the black would disappear and the white will stay. So I change the blending mode. Lighten is a good blending mode here. I keep going down. Okay, so lighten gave me the best result. I can change now the fill or the opacity to make these less visible. And the last thing I would want to do, in case I wanted to make this a bit artistic, is to add some glow. Right? If I went to outer glow, I would not get anything. Why? Who knows why? Because the glow is actually being applied to the whole layer and not to the actual stars. If I wanted to apply the glow to the individual stars, then I would have to actually delete the black color. And this is what I'm going to do now. So in case I didn't want to add the glow, I would leave it like this and I'd be done. If I wanted to add the glow, I would have to actually bring this back to normal and select the black color, increase the fuzziness, and delete. So now the layer is actually empty where I don't have any stars, right? The layer is empty. So now if I went to apply a glow, the stars will actually glow and it will look much better. So let's choose white. Alright, you see the difference with glow and without the glow. I can increase the size if I wanted to. Okay, this is too much, obviously. Okay, a value of around 7 is a good value. And I can play with how the glow happens from here. Of course, not all of them are going to give me a good result, but I'll just test things out to see which one looks best for me. I think the default looks the best. I'll press OK. Alright, so if I want to see this now full screen, I would get this. Now, of course, I have too many stars. It's a matter of playing with the threshold until you have the exact number of stars that you would need. But otherwise, that's how I would create my starry sky.